Welcome back to the deep dive. I was walking to the studio today checking my phone, and I realized I had 3 different notifications about 3 different AI updates.
Oh, just 3. That sounds like a slow morning.
Right. A new model, a new image generator, a new way to clone my voice. And honestly, I just felt tired, just exhausted by it all.
It's the fatigue, isn't it? The hype cycle has been spinning at maximum velocity for what, almost 3 years now? It's relentless.
Exactly. It feels like we've been living in this constant state of the robots are coming since late 2022. But today, we're going to press pause on all of that. We are not talking about the next shiny toy.
Thank goodness.
We are taking a massive step back to look at the human side of this whole equation.
Which is, usually the part that gets completely ignored in the tech press. It's all about benchmarks and parameter counts, not people.
Completely. And to do that, we have this incredible stack of research today. And when I say incredible, I mean this scale is actually hard to wrap your head around.
It's the beast.
It is. It's the trust, attitudes, and use of artificial intelligence. A global study 2025. It's a collaboration between the University of Melbourne and KPMG International.
And this isn't some quick Twitter poll or a small online survey. We need to be really clear about that from the top.
Not even close. They surveyed over 48,000 people. I was trying to visualize that earlier. That is a sold-out baseball stadium.
That's a great way to put it.
Imagine a stadium full of people, every single one of them giving detailed feedback on how they live with AI. They didn't just ask people in, San Francisco or London. This is 47 different countries.
47. Across 6 global regions.
That geographic spread is, I think, the most critical part of this entire report. Because as we're going to see, the way you view AI depends entirely on where you are standing on the map.
It's everything. It's the whole story, really. Your perspective is shaped by your location.
And when you are standing in time. The data collection for this happened in late 2024 and early 2025. So this is fresh, it's hot off the press, but it's also the 4th time they've done this survey.
Which gives us that amazing longitudinal view. We can compare the world of 2025 to the world of 2022.
And 2022 is the key benchmark, right? Because that was the pre-ChatGPT era, or at least the pre-mass adoption era.
It was before the explosion, before your grandma knew what a large language model was.
Right. 2022 was before the dam broke. Now we're all swimming in it. And that comparison brings us to the absolute centerpiece of this deep dive. There is a conflict in this data that I just couldn't shake when I was reading through it. They call it the trust paradox.
The trust paradox. It's the defining psychological state of our time, I think.
Let's break it down, because on paper, it makes absolutely 0 sense. The report shows that adoption is skyrocketing. I mean, it's a hockey stick graph.
Oh, completely.
We are using these tools more than ever before. We are weaving them into our jobs, our studies, our homes. But simultaneously, and this is the kicker, our trust in these systems is dropping.
It's actually going down.
And our worry is going through the roof.
It's so counterintuitive, isn't it? In almost any other industry, trust is the gatekeeper to adoption.
Yeah.
You don't buy a car if you think the brakes are going to fail. You don't eat at a restaurant if you think the kitchen is dirty.
Exactly. If I think a restaurant is going to poison me, I don't go there every Tuesday for lunch.
Yeah.
It's not logical. But with AI, we seem to be saying, I think this might be dangerous. I don't trust the company making it, but hey, it writes great emails, so I'm logging in.
That is a perfect way to frame it. We have, for the first time, really decoupled utility from trust. We're in a phase of what the report calls realistic caution.
Realistic caution.
The honeymoon is over. You remember late 2022, early 2023. It was magic. It was a parlor trick. Look, the computer wrote a poem about my cat in the style of Shakespeare. It was pure awe.
I remember showing my dad ChatGPT for the first time. It felt like I was showing him fire. It was science fiction.
Exactly. But that novelty has worn off. It's not a toy anymore. Now, we know what it can do, and we're using it because it's genuinely useful. But the rose-colored glasses are smashed. We are looking at these tools with a very, very skeptical eye. Even as we type our prompts, we aren't naive anymore.
So our mission today is to explore that tension. We want to understand the who, what, and where of this paradox. We're going to look at who is actually using it and who trusts it.
And we're going to dive into this idea of shadow AI lurking in our offices, which sounds like a villain from a Marvel movie, but is actually much more mundane and maybe more terrifying.
The compliance nightmare is what it is. And we are going to talk about a massive geopolitical split. Spoiler alert, the West, the US, Europe, Japan, We are the grumpy old men of the AI world.
We are. We're the skeptics. Meanwhile, emerging economies are sprinting ahead and they're not looking back.
It's two completely different realities. But let's start with the basics. Section 1, the global snapshot. Just how ubiquitous is this technology? Because 48,000 people surveyed gives us a pretty clear picture.
The numbers are undeniable. Let's start with the big one. 2/3 of the global population, that's 66%, are intentionally using AI regularly.
Intentionally. That's the key word there, isn't it?
It's absolutely the key word. This isn't accidental. This is 66% of people saying, I need AI for my work, my personal life, or my studies. They are logging in, opening the app, typing the query.
And how often are they doing that?
Of that group, 38% are using it daily or weekly. It's become a habit. It's part of the morning coffee routine for a huge chunk of the global workforce.
That is a massive shift from 2022. But you emphasized intentional use. What about the people who are using it without even knowing it? Because my mom still says she doesn't use AI, but she unlocks her phone with her face and talks to Siri all day.
Precisely. Your mom is a great example. The report highlights that about 36% of people still don't realize that AI is the engine under the hood of their daily tech.
So things like
What?
social media feeds.
Social media feeds, Netflix recommendations, the facial recognition on your phone, your navigation app telling you there's traffic ahead. That's all AI. It's invisible, but it's running in the background of our lives.
So the real usage is probably close to 100% of the digitally connected population.
It's getting there for sure.
Yeah.
But that 66% number represents the conscious users, the ones who are actively engaging.
Okay, so adoption is high. We are all cyborgs now, whether we admit it or not. Let's go back to that trust paradox. We are using it. Do we trust it?
No, that's the short, blunt answer. Only 46% of people are willing to say they trust AI systems.
Less than half. After all this adoption, all this use, we're still not even at a coin flip for trust.
We're not. The majority, 54%, are wary. That's the term the report uses, and I think it's a good one. They are either ambivalent, meaning they are just shrugging their shoulders, or they are actively distrustful.
But trust is such a big, vague word. I trust my bank not to lose my money, but I don't trust them to give me a good interest rate? What kind of trust are we talking about here?
That's a crucial distinction, and the report does a great job breaking it down. It splits trust into two buckets: technical trust versus ethical trust.
Okay, unpack that for me. What's the difference?
Technical trust is all about competence. It's the question, does the thing work? Do I believe this machine is smart? Do I believe it can summarize this text accurately, or write that code, or generate that image?
So basically, do we trust the brain, the processing power?
Exactly. And the data there is pretty high. 65% of people have technical trust. They believe the machine is capable, helpful, and efficient. They believe it can do the job.
Okay, so a strong majority trusts its ability. What about the other side of that coin?
That's where it falls apart. The safety and ethics bucket. Only 52% trust AI to be safe, secure, fair, and private.
So we trust the brain, but we don't trust the heart. Or maybe the lack of one.
That's it. We trust the machine to be smart. We don't trust it to be good. We worry about fairness. We worry about hidden biases in the training data. We worry, rightfully so, about where our personal information is going.
It's like hiring a brilliant consultant who you know is also checking your desk drawers for loose change when you leave the room.
That is a very unsettling but very accurate image, and that split explains the emotional landscape the survey found. It's not just fear, right? It's not just everyone running around screaming that the sky is falling.
It's more complicated.
It's much more complex. The dominant emotion is ambivalence. It's a messy mix. Optimism and excitement are still the top reported emotions. People are genuinely excited about the productivity gains and the creative possibilities.
But those good feelings are sharing the driver's seat with something else.
Exactly. They are coexisting with worry. And the worry is gaining ground rapidly.
This is where that 2022 versus 2025 comparison is so stark, isn't it?
It's night and day. In 2022, before the Big Bang, 49% of people reported being worried about AI.
Okay, so about half.
Now, it's 62%. That is a massive 13-point jump in anxiety in just 3 years. People are more nervous now that they've actually used the tools.
Familiarity is breeding contempt, or at least concern.
It's breeding a healthy dose of skepticism, and it's affecting the value proposition. We're starting to question if it's all worth it.
And what about that perceived value, the benefits versus risks calculation?
That's sliding too. The belief that benefits outweigh the risks has fallen from 50% in 2022. So a coin toss, down to just 41% today.
Wow. So we've gone from a 50-50 split to a majority now believing the risks might outweigh the benefits.
The scales are tipping. We are becoming more cynical, more cautious. We're using it, but we're watching our backs.
Cynical is the right word.
Yeah.
Now, I want to pivot to what I think is the most mind-blowing part of this entire report. We tend to think of this anxiety as a global phenomenon. We assume everyone in a cafe in Tokyo is just as worried as someone in a cubicle in Toronto. But that's not true, is it?
Not at all. It's not even close to being true.
Let's talk about the Great Divide. This split between what the report calls advanced economies and emerging economies.
This is the finding that challenges every single assumption we have in the West. When you look at the global map of AI sentiment, you see a stark line. On one side, you have the advanced economies, the USA, the UK, Japan, Germany, Australia, the Netherlands.
The usual suspects, the G7 and so on.
Right. And on the other side, you have the emerging economies, India, China, Nigeria, Brazil, Egypt, South Africa, and they are living in two different AI worlds.
Completely different universes, it sounds like.
Pretty much. The emerging economies are what the report labels the super adopters. Their whole attitude is different.
Okay, so give me the numbers. How different are we talking?
Let's start with trust. We just said the global average is 46%. In emerging economies, trust is at 57%. In advanced economies, it's just 39%.
39%, that's a huge gap.
It's a chasm. And look at acceptance. 84% acceptance in emerging markets versus just 65% in advanced ones. They are far more welcoming of this technology.
Wait, hold on. I need to pause on the usage stats. You're telling me that countries like Nigeria and India are using AI more than the US or Japan? Because I think the default stereotype in my head is that high-tech, wealthy nations would be the heaviest users.
That's the stereotype, but the data flips it completely on its head. Countries like India, China, Nigeria, and Egypt are seeing intentional usage rates over 70%, some even pushing 80%.
80%.
Meanwhile, Japan, which we think of as this futuristic tech giant, has incredibly low trust levels and consequently lower usage. The Netherlands is sitting at 43% usage. So you have a country like Nigeria potentially doubling the usage rate of a country like the Netherlands.
Why? What is driving that massive enthusiasm in the emerging world? Is it just that they, I don't know, like new technology more? That seems too simple.
It is too simple. It's not about liking tech, it's about need. The report's analysis points to something called the leapfrog theory.
Leapfrog. Okay, so like how many African nations skipped landline phones entirely and went straight to mobile phones?
Exactly that. It's the same principle. Think about the infrastructure in an advanced economy like Germany or the US. We have established systems for everything. If you get sick, there is a GP system. It might be slow, it might be expensive, but it's there. If you need a lawyer, there are firms. If you need education, there are schools with libraries and teachers. The systems are entrenched.
Right. So AI comes along, and to us, it looks like a disruptor. It looks like something that's going to break the system we already have and are comfortable with.
It's a threat to the status quo. Our first questions are defensive. Will this take my job? Will this violate my privacy? Will this break copyright law? We have a lot of legacy infrastructure, both physical and legal, to protect, so we are naturally cautious. Risk-averse.
But in an emerging economy, the calculation is totally different.
Totally. In an emerging economy, those resource gaps are real and acute. Imagine you are in a rural village in India or Nigeria. The nearest doctor might be a day's travel away. The local school might not have the latest textbooks or even a specialist teacher for a certain subject. In that context, an AI tool on a cheap smartphone isn't a disruptor that threatens a system. It's a lifeline. It is the system.
It's access. It's filling a vacuum.
It's the democratization of services. If ChatGPT can give you a preliminary medical triage or help you learn to code when you don't have a teacher, you don't care about the philosophical risks of the singularity. You care that you suddenly have access to world-class knowledge for free. The perceived benefit is immediate, tangible, and transformative.
So in the West, we view AI as a nice-to-have that comes with a long list of risks. In emerging economies, it's a must-have that solves fundamental problems.
Precisely. And it's not just about solving problems, it's about ambition. It's a growth mindset.
Yeah.
These regions view AI as a tool for economic advancement. They see it as the great equalizer.
How so?
If their workforce can master this tool, they can compete on the global stage instantly. They don't have to spend 30 years building the physical institutions first. They can leapfrog straight to the AI-enabled service economy. They can go from 0 to 100.
But I have to play devil's advocate here. Is it just that simple? Is it only about need and leapfrogging? Or is there a cultural difference in how we view authority and technology? Because when I see high trust in places like China, surely that's linked to the broader political environment, too.
It is, and that's a very nuanced and important point. You can't ignore it. In some authoritarian regimes or more collectivist cultures, there is historically a different relationship with surveillance and centralized technology.
The baseline expectation of privacy is different.
It might be different than in, say, Germany, where data privacy is culturally sacred for very valid historical reasons. But even accounting for that, the sheer optimism in vibrant democracies like India, Brazil, and Nigeria suggests it's largely driven by economic ambition and the potential for upward mobility. The economic factor seems to be the primary driver across the board.
Okay, so we have the West, the advanced economies sort of pumping the brakes and looking around nervously, and the rest of the world is slamming on the gas pedal. What happens in 5 years? If the super adopters integrate AI deep into their workforce, while we are still stuck in committees arguing about regulations.
Then the economic balance of power shifts. It's that simple. If the workforce in Nigeria or India is fluent in AI-augmented productivity, and the workforce in the Netherlands is resisting it or using it inefficiently, who is going to be more competitive in the global digital market?
That is a very sobering thought. It's not just about who builds the AI, it's about who masters using it effectively.
And right now, the emerging economies are winning the usage race by a country mile.
Speaking of the usage race, let's zoom in on where most of us listening probably encounter this stuff every single day, the workplace. Section 3 of our discussion here, though it feels like the most personal part for a lot of people.
This is the shadow AI chapter, and it is messy. Really messy.
The top line number is high. 58% of employees globally are using AI tools intentionally for work.
And that number has just exploded. The US, UK, Australia, since 2022, the growth is astronomical. And let's be clear about what they're using. It's not some niche data analysis tool. It's almost entirely generative AI.
So ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini.
Those are the kings.
Yep.
73% of employee users are on those types of conversational AI tools.
Okay, so people are using it. What's the problem? Isn't that good for productivity? That's the promise.
Yeah, it would be good if they were doing it safely, but they aren't. The report exposes this massive governance gap, a chasm between employee behavior and company policy.
And what's the headline finding there?
We found that 70% of employees are using free, publicly available tools for their work.
So not the company-sanctioned secure version. They're just logging into the standard free version you sign up for with a Gmail account.
Exactly. Not the secure enterprise-grade version that the company pays a fortune for to protect its data. The free one.
And we really need to explain why that matters.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people think, so what? It's the same chatbot. Walk us through the mechanics. If I am Dave in accounting and I paste the company's confidential Q3 financial projections into the free version of ChatGPT and ask it to write a summary, where does that data go?
This is the critical technical point everyone needs to understand. When you use the free version of most of these large language models, the terms of service, which nobody reads, usually state that your inputs, your chat history, can be used to improve the model.
And improve the model is just a nice way of saying it's used for training data.
It means training. Your conversation, Dave's financial data, that sensitive customer list, that secret product roadmap, it gets tokenized and potentially fed back into the learning algorithm. Now, to be clear, it's not that a human engineer at OpenAI is sitting there reading Dave's screen,
Okay.
but that information becomes part of the probabilistic soup of the model. It's absorbed into its knowledge base.
So 6 months from now, a competitor could ask a clever question about our sector, and the model might hallucinate an answer that is suspiciously close to the secret data Dave's pasted in.
That is the risk. It's a data leak happening in slow motion. And it's not a small risk. The report says 48% of employees admit to uploading sensitive company information into these public tools.
Almost half. That's malpractice on a colossal scale.
It is. Financials, HR records, legal documents, marketing strategy documents, they are feeding corporate secrets directly into public servers.
Why? I mean, is Dave in accounting actively trying to sabotage the company? Is it malice?
No, not at all. Dave is just trying to get home for dinner. The report digs into the drivers here, and it's not malice, it's pressure.
The pressure to perform.
Exactly. Half of the employees surveyed feel they will be left behind if they don't use AI. There is this intense FOMO fear of missing out that's being amplified by every headline they read.
Probably fear of losing their job if they can't keep up with the person in the next cubicle who is using it.
100%. The boss says, I need this report by 5 p.m. Dave knows he can't do it manually in time. He knows ChatGPT can do it in 10 minutes. He remembers some memo about not pasting sensitive data, but he also knows he needs to hit that deadline, so he makes a trade-off. Speed over security.
It's basic survival mode. The immediate threat of missing a deadline feels more real than the abstract threat of a data leak in 6 months.
It is, and it leads to this whole culture of secrecy. 57% of employees are non-transparent. They claim the AI's work as their own. They hide the fact they used AI from their bosses and their colleagues.
The secret cyborg.
Yeah.
Pretending they wrote that brilliant memo all on their own.
Right, and because they are hiding it, they aren't checking it properly. This is another terrifying stat. 66%, two-thirds of employees rely on the AI without verifying the output. They just copy, paste, and send. Blind trust.
That is avarice. That's just asking for disaster. We all know these models hallucinate. They confidently make up facts. They invent court cases. They create fake citations. If Dave isn't checking the work because he's rushing and hiding, the company could be making major financial decisions based on complete fiction.
And it's happening. The report confirms this. 56% of employees admit that their use of AI has directly caused mistakes in their work.
More than half have made errors because of it.
Yes. But the pressure to produce is so high they keep doing it. They know it's risky, but they feel they don't have a choice.
So what's the solution here? Do companies just bring down the hammer and ban it?
Yeah.
Effective immediately? No one is allowed to access ChatGPT.
You might think so. It seems like the simplest solution. But the data says that is the worst possible move you can make. Bans backfire.
Yeah.
Spectacularly.
How so?
The report found that employees in organizations that ban AI are actually more likely to engage in the riskiest behavior like uploading sensitive data than employees in organizations with clear permissive policies.
That is fascinating. So if you ban it, you don't stop the usage, you just drive it further underground.
You create a black market. If you ban it, Dave doesn't stop. He just uses it on his personal phone, under the desk, on the public Wi-Fi. And because he's hiding, he certainly isn't going to follow any safety protocols or best practices. The risk profile actually goes up.
So the only way out is through. You have to embrace it, sanction it, buy the proper enterprise tool, and then train people on how to use it safely.
You have to bring it out of the shadows and into the light.
Yeah.
You have to say, we know you're using this. Here's the safe way to do it. Here's the tool that is secure and doesn't train on our data. Use this and only this.
But are companies actually doing that? Is leadership stepping up?
Not enough of them. Only about half of organizations even have a policy on generative AI. And what's worse, a huge chunk of employees, 19%, don't even know if a policy exists or not. There's a massive leadership vacuum.
It's chaos. And this chaos isn't just affecting current employees. Let's shift gears slightly. We're talking about the current workforce, but there is another group mentioned in the report that is outpacing everyone, the students, the future workforce.
Oh, the students are the true power users. They put the employees to shame.
Right.
We're looking at 83% regular use among students.
83%.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
basically every student with a pulse and an internet connection is on this stuff.
Essentially. For homework, for essays, for exam prep. But there is a very, very dark side to this statistic. The report identifies a dependency crisis.
Dependency how? Like an addiction.
More like a capability crutch.
Yeah.
77% of students using AI said they felt they could not complete their work without it.
Wow. That stops me in my tracks.
Yeah.
More than 3/4 of students feel they literally can't do their assigned schoolwork without the bot.
Correct. And it gets worse. 81% admit they put in less effort on their assignments because they know the AI can do it for them.
This sounds like the old calculator debate we had 30 years ago, but on nuclear steroids.
Mm-hmm.
People fretted that calculators would make us forget basic math. But this feels fundamentally different.
It is fundamentally different. A calculator does the computation, but you still have to understand the formula to set up the problem. You have to do the critical thinking.
Right.
Generative AI does the thinking for you. It does the synthesizing. It structures the argument. If you outsource your essay writing, you aren't just outsourcing the typing. You are outsourcing the entire critical thinking process that organizes your thoughts and builds a coherent argument.
It's like going to the gym and using a forklift to lift the weights. The weights went up and down. The job got done. The bar was lifted. But your muscles didn't get any stronger.
That is the perfect analogy. And the students know it. It's not like they're oblivious. They report that it reduces their stress in the short term, which is great for them. But they also report feeling that their critical thinking skills and other foundational skills are atrophying.
So they see the trade-off.
They do. It's short-term gain, long-term pain. We are potentially raising a generation of prompt engineers who are brilliant at talking to a machine but can't think from first principles.
That is the risk. We can
Yeah.
be de-skilling the next generation before they even enter the workforce. And are the schools and universities helping?
Again, institutional failure. Just like in the corporate world, only half of education providers have clear policies or provide training on responsible use. We have 59% of students admitting to contravening policies, basically cheating or bending the rules, because the rules are unclear, inconsistent, or just completely unenforceable.
It feels like the Wild West. In the workplace, in schools, everyone is just winging it, making up their own rules. Which brings us to the inevitable reaction from the public. There ought to be a law. Let's talk about regulation.
The regulation mandate, as the report calls it, and you're right, the public is crying out for it.
Is it really that strong? I feel like regulation is usually a dirty word for a lot of people.
Not here. Not with AI. A resounding 70% of people globally believe regulation is needed. They see the chaos. They see the deep fakes. They see the risks in their own jobs. They want guardrails.
Oh, look who they want to build the guardrails. The government. Big tech itself.
They want a multi-pronged approach. It's not either. The highest support is for international laws, like a global treaty. But they also want national governments to step up, and they want independent regulators, like an FAA for algorithms. They want layers of protection.
And here's the incredible irony. Do they have any idea what the laws are right now?
Absolutely not. Awareness is abysmal. Get this. 83% of people don't know any specific laws or rules that currently apply to AI in their own country.
83%. So we are screaming, regulate this, while having absolutely no idea if it's already regulated.
Exactly. It shows that people feel unprotected, regardless of what is actually on the books. The feeling of vulnerability is incredibly high, and that's what's driving the demand.
What is the specific nightmare scenario they're worried about? What do they want these laws to stop?
Misinformation is number one with a bullet. 87% want specific laws to combat AI-generated lies and deepfakes.
Which makes sense. With the sheer volume of elections happening globally in 2024 and 2025, this is top of mind for everyone.
It is. 64% explicitly worry about elections in their country being manipulated by AI bots and disinformation campaigns. But it's not just political. 85% worry about cybersecurity threats being supercharged by AI.
That feels very real. But there was another fear you mentioned in the notes that really surprised me.
Oh.
It wasn't about politics or data or hackers. It was about connection.
Yes. This one really stands out. 82% of people worry about the loss of human connection.
That is an incredibly high number, higher than some of the more technical fears.
It is. It shows a deep-seated anxiety that as we integrate these incredibly efficient machines into our lives, we are going to lose the human touch. We are going to lose the mentorship, the casual conversations by the water cooler, the empathy that comes from human interaction.
It goes right back to that Dave in accounting example. If Dave just asks the bot how to do a VLOOKUP instead of asking his colleague Susan, he saves 5 minutes. But he loses the relationship with Susan. He loses that small moment of connection.
Exactly. And if we optimize every single interaction in our lives for pure efficiency, we might just optimize ourselves into total isolation.
So we have this messy, complicated landscape, high usage, low trust, hidden risks in our offices and schools, and a desperate desire for laws that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
How do we fix this? The report actually outlines the mechanics of trust. How do we actually move the needle and make people feel safe?
Right. So KPMG developed a statistical trust model based on all the survey data. It isolates the key drivers.
Yeah.
And the strongest one, the absolute foundation of the whole thing, is institutional safeguards.
Which means?
What exactly?
It means people need to believe there's a safety net.
Right.
They need to trust the system around the AI, not just the AI itself. Think about driving a car. You trust driving at 70 miles per hour on the highway. Why?
Because I trust my car, I trust the manufacturer. Do you? Or do you trust that there are white lines painted on the road? Do you trust that the other drivers have passed a test and have licenses? Do you trust that there are traffic laws and police to enforce them? Do you trust that if you crash, an ambulance will come?
Ah, I see what you mean. I trust the entire system. The car is just one piece of it.
You trust the institutional safeguards. Right now, with AI, people feel like they are driving a very fast car on a highway with no lanes, no speed limits, and no police. Until we build those safeguards, the laws, the corporate governance, the ethical standards, the independent audits trust will remain low no matter how good the technology gets.
That makes perfect sense. It's not about making the AI nicer. It's about making the entire environment safer and more predictable.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other drivers of trust?
The second biggest is motivation. That's just the benefits. If I can clearly see it helping my health, saving me money, or making my job easier, I'm more likely to trust it. The upside has to be clear.
Okay. And the third?
Knowledge. Basically, AI literacy. The more you understand how it works, the less you fear it.
So demystifying it helps.
A lot. If AI is a magical black box, it's scary. If you understand that it's just very complex probability and math, it becomes a tool that you can control and evaluate.
And the final one?
Uncertainty, which is the flip side, the risks. Obviously, if the perceived risks of job loss or data leaks feel too high, trust drops. But here's the interesting thing the model found. Right now, the benefits motivation are a stronger driver than the risks uncertainty are a deterrent.
Which explains the paradox.
It explains the paradox perfectly. We want the convenience more than we fear the data leak, so we use it even while we worry. The utility is just too high to ignore.
For now, at least. The report also creates a fascinating profile of the high truster. Who is the person who is all in on AI right now?
It's a very specific and, frankly, privileged demographic. They are younger Gen Z or millennial. They are university educated. They are in managerial roles. And crucially, they are high-income earners.
Money matters here.
A lot. High earners are twice as likely to trust and use AI as low earners. And this brings us right back to the inequality issue we touched on earlier. If the wealthy and educated are using AI to become super productive, to augment their skills,
And the lower income or less educated populations are avoiding it because of fear, distrust, or just lack of access and training.
then the AI divide becomes an economic chasm. The people who are already ahead get a jetpack. The people who are already behind get left in the dust. It's a recipe for massive societal inequality down the line.
That brings us to the end of this deep dive, and I have to say, my head is spinning a bit. We've covered the global map, the office politics, the classroom cheating, and the deep psychology of trust. If you had to sum this entire massive report up for the listener in just 2 sentences, what is the core reality check?
I would say we have a high speed of adoption, but a low speed of governance. That is the core conflict. We are all using these powerful tools because we feel we have to, but we're doing it in the dark without the safety nets we need from our leaders.
And that creates the shadow AI problem everywhere.
It creates shadow AI. And until our institutions, companies, governments, schools catch up and turn on the lights with clear policies and training, that trust paradox isn't going away. The anxiety will just keep growing.
And the path forward isn't to ban it or to panic, it's to manage it.
Exactly. AI, literacy, and governance. Those are the 2 pillars that will build a bridge from fear to trust.
I want to leave everyone with a final provocative thought to chew on. We talked about that fear of losing human connection, that 82% of people are worried about it.
It's the most human statistic in the entire report, I think.
It really is. So as you go back to work or school today, and you're tempted to just ask the bot to write that email or solve that coding problem or summarize that chapter, take just a second. Ask yourself, am I using this tool to save time, or am I using it to outsource a human connection?
That's a powerful question.
If 52% of employees already say they prefer asking a bot a question than a human colleague, what happens to the social fabric of our lives when that number hits 70% or 80%?
It's the ultimate trade-off, isn't it? Efficiency versus humanity. We have to be incredibly conscious about the choices we make every day to make sure we don't optimize ourselves right out of a meaningful existence.
A heavy thought to end on, but a necessary one. Until next time, keep digging.